Hello and thank you for joining the Thursday edition of Journalists Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozugbakun. Today on the program, APC moves against Giadom for declaring himself chairman as Oshiomhole plans the next action. And later on the show, APC National Vice Chairman South Hilliard Etta speaks on Edo crisis, says party will emerge stronger. I'll be hanging out with Babajide, Kolade-Otitoju and Asuquo James. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Magazine about politics that no permanent friend, no permanent enemy is playing out within the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC. The party is planning to sanction its Deputy National Secretary, Victor Giadom, for declaring himself chairman after a court judgment upheld the suspension of Adams Oshiomhole as the national chairman. The embattled Oshiomhole is keeping the card about his next move close to his chest in this unending game. Babajide, updates from where we stopped yesterday. APC is still kind of embattled the leadership problem. Where are we now?
Yes, and the court has given Giadom the mandate to continue as chairman of the party, just like renewing the order that he gave the last time. So the court also went ahead to literally nominate a secretary for the party. So what you can see going on is that some elements within the APC are struggling to make sure that the party does not have a candidate for the
Edo election.
Because you need the secretary and the chairman to sign. So if they can't present a candidate, it becomes a big problem. So that is what is like a party that is trying to destroy itself from within. We've talked about some of these things before now. So if there's a fresh order extending Giadom's acting chairmanship by another 2 weeks, then there's a potential problem from there, unless, of course, they move fast to get that order vacated. And I'm sure that that's what Oshiomhole and his people will be planning to do. You see, there were mistakes made by the Oshiomhole group from the beginning, and I said it, that even that the matter of his suspension should not have been allowed to get to this point. 9 persons suspended Oshiomhole. 17 of them, which is like a minority, suspending Oshiomhole. 17 of them are saying, no, we are not part of this. So they should have moved, and that should have been pleaded before the court. They didn't even plead that before the court. They should have pleaded that, look, we have 17, they have 9. So it's like underrating things, and given the nature of our judicial system, you cannot simply underrate a system, a situation in which you have found yourself, because they could just snooker you, surprise you in the manner that we have seen currently. A matter like the suspension of the national chairman of the party, at what level, should have been nipped in the bud. All of this embarrassment, we would not have had this kind of embarrassment that the APC is facing. So clearly, as I've said, it's 2023 struggle that these people have begun. And clearly the party is waging a war against itself from within. Because some of these people, they don't care what happens. They don't care whether the APC loses those states. They don't care whether the APC loses the next election. And the APC is in a precarious state now because the two parties, the PDP and APC. They are almost level in terms of the number of states that they control. And there are elections ahead of us. So if they do not put their house in order and move quickly, chances are that the party will be embarrassed in Edo State, for example. So they have to move quickly, especially with this court. These court actions are designed to achieve an aim. So they've got to move to see how they can stop these guys in their tracks.
Okay, Asuquo, look at the implication. The first press conference that this Giadom man, Victor Giadom, addressed, he reversed what the NWC has done and said the screening was not done in good faith and they're going to go ahead to do a rescreening. And look at where we are now. INEC is saying that you guys just have 10 days for everything you have to do, both PDP and everybody, 10 days to submit the name that will not grant any extension. So what's the implication of this now? If Giadom is now going to preside, will he be consolidating on what the NWC has proclaimed as, like, let's say Governor Hope Uzodinma will be in charge of the primaries for Monday and some other appeal committee that has been, will he go ahead to mention his own new people?
Yeah, of course, if you notice what happened yesterday, he actually did like somebody who is taking the military, like a coup leader. Immediately, screening committee dissolved, appeal committee, all they have dissolved, and then the national organizing secretary suspended. We all know where and how his intentions are from the statement he made yesterday. So as it stands today, the APC has to move fast.
2 weeks might be costly for APC.
Yes, because now it is 22nd. After 22nd, you have to start counting the 10 days. If he doesn't set up a committee or fully, I doubt it if he's going to set up.
The opening is 29th.
Yes, I doubt it if he will want to use the Uzodinma's committee, because as it stands, he already has a mindset of his own. The people that are urging him,
yes,
they have everything pre-planned. That by the time this is out, this is the next step. By the time this one is out, this is the next step. So the next step now, I'm very sure by the time he sits tomorrow, he's going to either bring out the list, a new list of those who will be in charge of the primaries. And don't forget, the Obaseki is already out of the picture. So I don't know if Obaseki will want to still come back to APC. His intentions are just for APC to lose the election. So it is left for the 16 NWC members to find a way. Either they go back to the court to stop him. He has 2 weeks. Because even when that March order came, he had 7 days for him to remain, because it was just an ex parte motion for him to remain as national chairman for 7 days. It is expired. Now the court has granted him another 2 weeks. Yes. So it means that those at the end, those who are managing the APC from another camp, let me use that word, from another side, they have to go back to the court. This is an issue that should have been resolved. Like the vice chairman was saying yesterday, this is someone that, based on the party's constitution, left the party to go and contest an election, as a running mate. So it means he has resigned.
Yes.
So if you have resigned, then how are you still having the effrontery to come? And so you just know that he has something in mind. And the people who are telling him to move forward, to go ahead and begin to fight left, right, center, they have a reason. And that reason, if those who really love the party and know everything about the party, they don't move fast, everything will collapse. Ayo. 10 days, you're just saying 10 days. They are going to, like I know in politics, Ayo, which we all know, that 10 days, don't be surprised, it will be the 9th day. APC might likely not have a candidate if nothing is done fast. So those who are ready, like the president, because they need to quickly call the NEC meeting. Because it's the NEC that will decide all these things.
We forget history a lot. In the 4 years ago, at about this time, exactly this time, we had the problem when we had the problem of what's his name? Is it 4 years ago? When PDP was factionalized, when we had the Alimodi Sheriff faction and we had the other man faction. But what I'm trying to say is that McCarthy faction, it went down to the wires. It went as far as the Supreme Court. It almost destroyed that party when two factions were laying claim to the leadership of the People's Democratic Party. At a point in time, some people had already gone out to register a new party, so that in case PDP ceases to exist, APC is now working in the same path.
Well, you look at what is happening. The contending groups within the party that are responsible for this contrived crisis. They find it difficult to forgive one another, and they are doing their best
ambition
to destroy one another. It's like, say, well, if you don't let me get it, then you will not get it. You know, it's crude politics, to say the least. A situation in which you don't care whether the collective fails, as long as you achieve your own desire. They suffer from elephant-sized ego, and they believe that they are bigger than the party. So discipline, party discipline, should go side by side with genuine reconciliation. I had said before now that there was no serious reconciliation made after the 2019 election. No real reconciliation was made. And that election sparked division within the party. It triggered division within the party. It caused the party to lose at least 4 states. You know? So there should have been genuine reconciliation. So people who fought one another in 2019, they still harbor deep animosities against one another. Look at what's happening in Rivers, for example. They've been fighting each other for almost 4 years. And no real effort has been made. Sometimes, too, when efforts are made to reconcile these people, some of them will ensure that the reconciliation does not work. I've never seen this kind of people in all my years of covering politics, of monitoring politics, even when I was not a journalist. There has to be that open heart to let real, genuine reconciliation take place. And
the interest of the party should supersede.
Yes, it should come over
every
personal interest. But that's not what we are seeing. It is clear that the goal of some people is to make sure that what happened in Zamfara happens in Edo State, which will enable PDP to carry the day. There are some people already who are within the APC. They stay in the APC, but they're already having meetings with the PDP. You know, they've been having meetings with the PDP. Some of them have been meeting with the PDP for up to 6 months, preparatory to their eventual departure. So they are trying to go strengthen the rival party because they cannot forgive one another, because they don't want even the crisis within their own group resolved. And when it happened in Adamawa, nothing happened. It happened in Bauchi, nothing happened. We are seeing something that looks like even when people move against the party has no way of punishing such people, of criminalizing such actions. So when you have such a situation, everyone would think that, oh, he can get away with Blue Murder. So that's what we are seeing. Because Giadom, naturally, even the letter of resignation is still with INEC, is with the NWC. So it is in our law that once you want to contest, it is given that you've given up your position. In fact, you are supposed to leave. In the case of the kind of position that he was occupying. You're supposed to leave at least 3 months to the election. So what has happened? The court should take notice of the fact that he had left, he had resigned, he had left that position. So on what basis is he doing all this?
Okay, adaptation is probably the most important trait for success in politics. Then, the crisis rocking the Edo chapter of the All Progressive Congress APC snowballed into a leadership tussle at the National Secretariat with the party's National Vice Chairman for South-South, Hilliard Etta, who has been empowered to act on behalf of the acting National Chairman, said the APC will emerge stronger. Mr. Eta is joining us live from Abuja. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Okay, who is the national chairman of the All Progressive Congress as at 5 p.m. today?
By the special grace of God. First of all, let me say that I'm a great fan of this program.
Thank you so much.
And to go to your question, by the special grace of God, His Excellency Senator Ayodele Ozugbakun is the acting national chairman of the party. I am just acting on his behalf to satisfy the aspirations of my colleagues in the National Working Committee who chose me to act in the stead of Senator Ayodele Ozugbakun.
Now, tell us about the festering crisis in the APC in Edo State.
Where are we?
Well, I have just, again, on behalf of Senator Ozugbakun, I have just inaugurated the election committee, the primary election committee, and the primary elections appeal committee. That is where the party is at the moment in Edo State.
Now, we were told before this afternoon, before this program, that your deputy national chairman, deputy the general secretary, national secretary is laying claim to be that he has gotten a court order that gives him 2 weeks to be in charge of the party.
That's Giadom.
Well, it is one of the strangest things that could come from the judicial system of our country. But let me, for the purposes of clarity, make it abundantly clear that Chief Victor Giadom ceased to be a member of the NWC the moment he resigned his membership of the NWC to enroll him as the deputy governorship candidate of our party in Rivers State. Incidentally, I am the national vice chairman of the party in the South-South. At no time did I represent Chief Victor Giadom to fill vacancy that created by his resignation of that office, as I said earlier, to enable him contest the election as deputy governorship candidate. So it's a travesty, a comedy of some sort, that he will be parading himself as the chairman, as the acting chairman of the party.
Okay.
What are we likely to see? Are you going to proceed with the conduct of the primaries, or you will first take steps to vacate that order that Giadom is parading? What are we to expect?
Well, first of all, our lawyers are working full-time. I believe that there will be a resolution to all of those shenanigans of Chief Victor Giadom. But the party is focused on having a very transparent primaries process in Edo State. And the chairman of that committee, His Excellency Senator Hope Uzodimma, has assured the party of putting all his best energies, his best foot forward to make sure that the party comes out with a fantastic process at the end of the day. I like to say that, like the suspended national chairman said a few days ago, let us speak to the issue of common sense. If you look at the constitution of the All Progressives Congress, even if we were to concede that Victor was the substantive national secretary of our party, the national secretary is not in line for succession of the national chairman. Yes. The constitution is very clear on who succeeds if the party's chairman is incapable of functioning as the party chairman. It envisages that the deputy national chairman from the zone of the party, from the zone of the chairman, will act on behalf of the chairman if he's incapable of doing so. So the secretaries, whether it is the substantive one, the acting one, the deputy secretary, are all in the secretariat. The mandate of that office situates them in the secretariat of the party, the managers of the secretariat. They have no business in the succession line of the national chairman.
And so how did this then happen? How could this have happened?
Well, you have a tendency in the party where some very powerful individuals would want to destroy this party in the event that they cannot get the soul of this party. Is for them to destroy this party. We have heard it has been in currency for a long time that they have made all plans to either capture the soul of the party or weaken the party and find solace in the formation of a new political organization. Because what they have done can be likened to a coup. Because they know that if you go through the constitution of the party from the first to the last page, what they are doing today finds no comfort in this constitution.
Okay, so why was it very difficult for you to get the contending parties, to agree to a truce?
In Edo State.
In Edo State.
Well, No, that would not be true. I am aware of several attempts to reconcile the warring tendencies in Edo State, and I must say this for the suspended national chairman, Comrade Oshiomhole. He had always made himself available for reconciliation. He has always made himself like I said earlier, available so that matters could be brought to the table and thrashed. Unfortunately, the governor of Edo State and former member of our party was not willing for proper reconciliation to be done in that regard. So there was nothing anybody could have done.
So are you saying that a reconciliation meeting will be called and he will stay away? Was that what he was doing?
Oh yes, severally. I am bold to say this to you, that a lot of very prominent Nigerians had intervened in the matter, and at all times the governor will find a reason for not being, for not participating in the process.
Now, don't you think the AP...
Can you give even one instance so that it doesn't look like this is rumor mongering?
No, the governors of our party,
yes,
the governors of our party had arranged for a meeting to be, the meeting was to hold in Edo. It was the governor who told them at the very last minute that there was no need for them to come to Edo for the meeting. And that meeting was supposed to be used as, for reconciliation and for peace and harmony.
Now, don't you think the APC is a party that lacks effective internal conflict resolution mechanism?
In the light of what we are saying.
My retort or my answer to this is that wherever you have a party that is predicated on liberal democracy and a party of progress that allows its members or membership the comfort of a conversation or participation in discourse within the party itself. You seem to have a cacophony of voices. What then is required is that the leadership must always make it possible for this conversation or for this discourse to be within the confines of decency and law and within the party. And the leadership must make it impossible for these things to be externalized. Now, we had a problem in the last NWC, which I was a member, that we allowed members to go out of line. And also, the second leg of that argument is that the leadership must also be careful to make sure that justice is done or justice is seen to be done to members of the party. This was lacking in the last NWC, and it became, like a culture. Now, one of the flags that this national chairman is having from a lot of sides is that he has attempted to rein in discipline. He has attempted to make for the conversation and the discourses that we must have to be within the confines of the party. That has brought a lot of flags on him. I will not say that for now that there is no leadership, so to speak. The only thing that I can tell you now is that there are people who are not reacting properly to the leadership that is being provided by Comrade Adams Oshiomhole.
Now, let me take you back to what you said earlier, that the party has some individuals who are bent on bringing it down. Mm-hmm. If there are individuals bent on destroying the party because of their own selfish interests, no matter how big such individuals are, shouldn't they be shown the door? Shouldn't they be expelled from the party?
Exactly.
Why must the party continue to harbor such people and pretend like they don't exist?
No, let me say that most times they do not come out in the open. They are just drummers and they send their boys to do the dancing. Okay, we know this because we are politicians. We know those who control them. We are, whatever that is happening at the National Secretariat now, we know that those who are dancing in the out and in of courts have those who are drumming for them. Yes. But when they are not the ones who are dancing, it is difficult to now pin those atrocities on them.
You see their hands.
Let me quickly ask another question. Supporters of Governor Obaseki insist that it is because he opposes godfatherism that he's going through, or that he went through what he went through in the hands of the suspended chairman. How do you react to this?
Well, for instance, I think that Comrade Adams Oshiomhole is very capable of speaking to that issue of godfatherism. Yes. But one thing I have noticed in all of this, what I have noticed in all of this is that whereas Comrade Adams Oshiomhole has been accused by the supporters of the governor as a promoter of godfatherism, they have never brought out to public notice some of those things that he has done that would show clearly that he intended to remote control the governor or exert unnecessary pressure on the governor. They have refused to mention an instance or a situation that would have convinced any sane thinking person that this was indeed a question of the governor resisting godfatherism. Until that is done, for me, it is in the purview of gossip and speculation.
If Mr. Victor Giadom goes ahead to reverse things you've activated on ground for the Edo State election, and INEC is saying you have just 10 days, this might be counterproductive. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I didn't get that part.
I say if Mr. Victor Giadom, if he goes ahead to reverse some of the things you put in place as regards the primary election in Edo State, that might be counterproductive because the primary election is slated for Monday.
Okay, I've heard you now. I've heard you now. Let me put it this way. Even a properly elected national chairman of the party cannot on his own reverse the resolutions and the decisions of the NWC. It was not Comrade Oshiomhole who authorized or constituted the screening committee. It was not Comrade Oshiomhole who constituted the appeals committee. It was the National Working Committee of the party. And the National Working Committee of the party has gone ahead to constitute the election committee. And no organ of the party except NEC and National Convention can reverse the resolutions, the decisions, and the outcomes of National Working Committee. So for me, I believe that they are working from the answer to the question.
Is your NWC divided? How many do you have with the Giadom faction and this other faction?
Mm-hmm.
No, outside of the suspended chairman, Comrade Oshiomhole, we now have 20 people left in the National Working Committee. On the side of truth, on the side of progress and development of our party, we have 17 individuals. It is only 2 because Chief Victor Giadom is not a member of the NWC. Only 2 are said to be against the development and the progress of our party. So you can be the judge in this case. We have over 80% or 90% of the people in the National Working Committee on the side of the truth.
Okay. In the last general election, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. In the last general election, APC lost some states like Oyo, Bauchi, and even Benue. With what? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay.
Are you there?
Hello?
Hello? Okay, we'll take this break, and when we come back, we'll continue with the interview. Come back. It's Journalists Hangout, and we are on live with the National Vice Chairman, South for the All Progressive Congress, Mr. Hilliard Eta. As at now, Mr. Hilliard Eta has been saddled with the responsibility of leading that party in the absence of Senator Abiola Ajimobi. Am I correct, sir?
Yes, very correct.
Okay.
Okay, I was asking, in the last general election, APC lost some states like Oyo, Bauchi, and Benue. But what is currently happening in Edo? Don't you think you guys are working towards that path too?
I don't think so, but you must also understand that the PDP also lost elections in states that otherwise seen as stronghold of their party. I must also tell you that incumbency does not necessarily guarantee victory. We have seen that severally. For me, there are two forces involved in that election. God Almighty and the people of Edo State. Until they speak, nobody can say for certain that this will be the outcome of the elections in Edo. But we are very, very confident of the work that we have done. We are confident of the work that we intend to do to make sure that we retain Edo State in the fold of the APC.
What people always tell us is that Edo State is a PDP state, that especially in the presidential and national assembly elections, they always trounce the APC. And those same people are telling us that Governor Obaseki has been unfairly treated, and that because of that, wherever he goes, the people of Edo State will go with him. Are you sure that you are not worried as the election day moves closer?
No, it is not a question of being worried or not being worried. I mean, for every election, any politician who tells you that he does not worry about the outcomes is not telling you the truth. We worry. It is our business to worry. But what I am telling you, that if people say that Edo State is a PDP state, then they do not speak truth to the issue of Edo State. There was an interregnum in the history, the political history of Edo, where the conservatives took power, but it was for a brief period. If you look at the history of Edo, Edo has always belonged to the progressive family. And I believe in the political wisdom and maturity of the Edo people. They will come out en masse to speak on that day. We can do all the speculations and the permutations that we will do, but on that day, the Edo people will speak. And they have always spoken in favor of the progressive ideals for which our party stands for.
What have you done ultimately now that this crisis, Nigerians are tired, that like yesterday, most newspapers, they had the headline that 3 national chairmen emerges within APC in one day. Now, are you not tired on the backlash? What are you doing to make sure that the house is in order? You put your house in order.
I am very sure that we are in conversation with our governors. We are going to reach out to the leadership of the National Assembly. The same thing for the presidency. We intend that in no distant future, that all of this will become a thing of the past, that we will be able to solve and resolve the internal wranglings of our party. But let me say this before I leave this particular question. You see, from my opinion, and this is not the opinion of the NWC, it does not represent the opinion of even Senator Abiola Ajamobi that I represent. It's my opinion. I believe that there are people in our party who ought not to be in our party. They ought to be in a conservative party. I also believe that there are people in the PDP who ought not be in PDP but should be in our party because they are progressive-minded. Now, as the ideas and the ideologies of these parties begin to congeal and take form and take life, I believe that Nigerians will generally navigate and find their way to their proper, ideal political habitats, ideological habitats, politically speaking. So you have a situation where people who are in our party are not comfortable with the core values of our party. The same thing goes for the other party. So a time will come when Nigerians will generally migrate to ideologically harmonious camps, depending on their choices in the political process.
Let me ask you this question as we prepare to go. Many people are saying that Mr. President, as the leader of the APC, has not done enough to quell some of these squabbles within the party. What significant moves can you tell us that the president has made, especially in resolving this Edo conflict?
I have it on good authority. I was not part of that meeting, but I have it on good authority that the president had done a few things to resolve the Edo impasse. Having said so, I must also say this. There is a school of thought that believes that one of the problems of Africa is the promotion of big men and the demotion of big institutions. And we've always cried that we must build up our institutions, we must allow institutions to learn and grow. I think this president has shown in so many ways that he would rather allow institutions to make their mistakes and grow. It is a little bit ironical that whereas Nigerians, when they had the strong men in power, were always desirous of having great institutions and also strong men. Now the reverse is the case. I think we should encourage the president not to interfere in the life of institutions so that those institutions will make their mistakes, falter, and grow. And so that in future we will have strong institutions and not strong men.
Finally, what's your message to Nigerians as you representing the acting national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, that's Senator Abiola Ajimobi?
Well, I like to say to Nigerians that on the other side, if you walk away from here, that the sky is bright, and we are seeing light at the end of the tunnel, and that the All Progressives Congress is going to do everything first to bring harmony and resolutions to the APC and help the government that we have produced to bring good life to the people of Nigeria. I would like that we are judged by what we have been able to do from 2015 till now, not on the basis of emotions and sentiments, but on facts. I would like to use this opportunity to thank Nigerians for their understanding, and also specifically to the Edo people to go out on the day of elections and vote massively for the APC.
All right. National Vice Chairman, South-South, Mr. Hilliard Etta. I want to thank you for coming on the program. Thank you so much. And we wish
Thank you very much. But I must say that I am not Mr. I'm a titled man. My name is Ntufam Hilliard Eta.
Okay, as well, we'll do justice to that. Mr. Leo. Ntufam. Thank you so much. Jide. Wow.
It has
APC
been
Fuji House of Commotion.
It has been a good time with Chief
He
Hilliard
answered
Eta.
our questions very well.
Yes, he didn't parry any question. He did his best.
Quite honest.
Despite the short notice, he did his best. And we just hope that the party will be able to put his house in order. We need our parties to be better organized so that people who join those parties will have their goals achieved. Infighting, petty squabbles will not take the APC anywhere. So the leaders of the party must come together and put their selfish interests aside and work for the unity and harmony and progress of the party.
He said something that struck me, that some people are not meant to be in their party, that they are conservative people and there's some progressive down there. It's as if we're upside down in this part of the world, and when you see that interest and what the results you have is going to be counterproductive. We are moving towards 2023. A lot of things, we'll start seeing things like this in this political system. Especially, it's not peculiar to APC alone, but because APC is a ruling party, it happened in PDP that time.
Exactly. I think what we should be looking at, because the time is running fast, we have moved away from, if you notice the number of years that we've had democracy, by now we should be having parties that have value, whereby I can say, okay, this is the party I want to stay, and I'll stay for that party for many years. And even if my dad was in that party, I should be able to say, that is the party that I have. So we have to build those institutions. Parties, political parties will make them look like institutions whereby people will see it as a culture.
If they're winning or not.
Exactly. Whether you win, whether you lose, let it be an institution whereby everybody will be. It should be a culture, and people should be able to have political parties that will have values, whereby once I am in a particular political party, whether it's my family is there, I have to be there, whether come rain, come sunshine.
What this is telling me is that the post-Buhari era for the All Progressive Congress might be a little turbulent.
Yes.
Oh, no doubt about it.
We are seeing signs.
No doubt about it. And they have to start from this point to show us how they intend to navigate that era, because a house divided against itself cannot stand. You are in power, you have all the opportunities of being in power, of making so many of your members happy. Yet they are clearly much more fragmented than the PDP. They don't like it when you say it. They say, oh, PDP too, they have their crisis. But I always tell them that you can't keep comparing yourself to the PDP, because Nigerians saw the PDP there before they decided to vote for your party in 2015. Why are you copying the PDP? If PDP is known for crisis, must you also be known for crisis?
They should have been more
so
different.
They should show that, yes, they are a party that is different. And you don't demonstrate that by these needless squabbles over 2023 that nobody knows who will get there amongst us.
Exactly.
We don't own ourselves. It's God that determines who gets to 2023.
People are dropping dead every
People
day.
are dropping the look at COVID, killing some of our friends. Even while some funny Nigerians are saying it's a scam, it doesn't exist. We are seeing clearly that our friends are being lost.
It's not knocking
Yes,
everybody's
everybody's
getting closer.
Getting closer and closer.
Have
So
reference
who
points
knows
here
who
and
will get to 2023? And we are fighting, we are tearing ourselves apart, we are splitting hairs over 2023 that we may never get there. So people, party leaders must come together and work as one people, one indivisible entity. Fight pulling in different directions will not take the APC anywhere.
Asuquo James, thank you for your contribution.
Thank you for having me.
At least it has been so exciting with
Hilliard.
Hilliard Eta. What's that his first? Otto Farm Hilliard Eta. BQ, thank you for this edition too.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And that's all the drop on today's program. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch Journalists Hangout on our platform showing on the screen. We're on YouTube too, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Feedback channel is Journalists Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Ozugbakun. Bye for now.